Hey, hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh. Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakam Double honors once again go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who continue to, through the Holy Spirit, give us these lessons, push out this truth, and also, up until this day, continue to be out there on the highways and byways with the rest of us. Alright, salutations also go out to the brethren who are also pushing this truth across the four corners of this world. Alright, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. And this is Naaman with the DC camp. And as you can see by the heading, yeah, this is from the Epic Times, as a matter of fact, which is a site I check it out from time to time. I'm not a subscriber, but they have some good stories on there, some good articles. It says ex-military leaders warn of politicized civil military environment days after Biden's speech, and everybody's been talking about that speech. All right, of course, this happened last week, but hey, he laid down the gauntlet, so to speak, and they're still talking about it. Anyway, here you see much of the controversy centers around this individual in caption here, and that's Anthony Fauci, who's supposed to be not so much stepping down, but he's moving to the private sector. So he's going to be behind the scenes now. All right. It goes on to say about a dozen former Department of Defense secretaries and Joint Chiefs of Staff chairmen signed a letter warning of a challenging civil military environment days after President Joe Biden's speech that included 2 Marines behind him. And you have to understand, we've said this oftentimes at camp, and it's not like they don't know this either. You have a lot of people in the military, other various departments in the government that are not too happy, all right, with what's going on the last better part of a year and a half into this administration's meanderings. The big thing, of course, with the lockdowns, lockups, however you want to put it, which more and more we're talking about this pandemic, and it just came across the wire about these embalmers that are seeing these bodies of people that have been fully, quote unquote, fully vaxxed, and they're seeing all these blood clots. Some of them are like a foot long. It's weird, but everybody's like, and then there's a report in the military now talking about, well, they're covering up all the damage that's being done by these shots. All right, but I don't want to get sidetracked on that. I don't know, the algorithm's going to pick it up. But continuing on with this is just the things that I mentioned just heighten the division. People are tired. A lot of people can't put a percentage on it, therefore can't put a number on it, but a lot of people are sensing that the days of old are just that. The days of old, they're gone. It's a bygone age, and we're moving into something new. And this is also what we've been trying to tell our people, that whether or not you believe it's conspiracy theory, it doesn't matter. These things are happening right in front of your face, and it's to the point now where you can't deny it. If you do, you're just you're fooling yourself. You're hurting yourself, therefore. Anyway, continuing on, it says we are in an exceptionally challenging civil military environment. Many of the factors that shape civil-military relations have undergone extreme strain in recent years. All right, and socially, the pandemic and the economic dislocations, which all of this, of course, was planned. This was plotted out because it goes into the Great Reset. And if you're not familiar with an individual by the name of Klaus Schwab, I encourage you to, it's a little late in the game, but hey, I encourage you to familiarize yourself with that individual. You gotta understand. All these people, of course, Queen Elizabeth dying earlier today, all right, you're going to find out that all these people are related. And it's something that people didn't want to believe because you were fooled by this political system. In fact, this is worldwide, with everywhere these Edomites are ruling, and they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Due to colonialization, all right, all these other countries that were underneath these Edomite/white nations, adopted their form of governments, all right, and it's been in recent years, and I'm saying recent, we can go back to the 60s, let's just say 60 years, people have broken away especially from British rule, and they don't want to do things that way anymore. And that's something that, like I say, these people are all related. Yes, all these families, the Rothschilds, Guggenheim, Schwabs, all these people, further you go back, you find out that they are related. Even some of our people's precious Barack Obama, he's related to these pieces of shit. Yes. All right. Do your work. Do your homework. All right. As much information as we try to get out to you, you're going to have to do these things in order to find out for yourself. All right. Continuing on, it says, politically, military professionals confront an extremely adverse environment characterized by the divisiveness of effective polarization that culminated in the first election in over a century, when a peaceful transfer of political power was disrupted and in doubt. Let's get some scriptures right off the bat. I say right off the bat, we're like 8 minutes in now. This is Mark 3:24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And that's what you're seeing now. That's why they're trying to hurry up and get this new world order, get everybody underneath one umbrella, all right, as far as governments and religion, money, economics, all this they're trying to, and it's like the arrogancy of these devils. Don't you know that it didn't work? It didn't work here. Let's go Genesis 11. Building of the tower. Let's go way back. All right, right after the flood. All right, and it says the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Yes, these idiots are trying to replicate this once again with this new world order shit. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. Because you have to stand in that region. When it's talking about brick, it's usually talking about what they had with not brick as we know it now, with like the concrete type that we have now. No, this is talking about like the mud brick. You had to dry it in the sun, and there was a special way you had to do it. Now they covered that on I'm not just dreaming this up now. I watched a what was it, Modern Marvels, and they did a segment on the way things were back then and how they engineered these great marvels that they built, as far as the size, and they showed you how they created these just mud bricks with straw. When you go into Exodus, where it talked about how the Egyptians made us, the Israelites, uh, build brick with straw, and then when they got very angry with us, we had to build them without straw. So, yeah, they let them sit out there, and it was a process. It took time, and they did it in a way because you had to understand too, with it just being mud bricks. All right, you had to do something about when it got wet, or it would collapse in on itself. It's real interesting, um, you know. So, in any way, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there, and they said one to another, okay, they made brick, all right, and they had brick for stone and slime, had they for mortar, all right, the rebellion at the tower, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And this is the judgment, verse 5, it says, on all the generations. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Most High said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Most High scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Most High scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. And it says here in the notes, Babal, that is confusion. The Tower of Babal, Herodotus informs us, was a furlong of 660 feet in length and breadth, and according to Strabo, Greek, it says it rose to the same altitude. It was of a pyramidical form, consisting of 8 square towers, gradually decreasing in breadth, with a winding ascent on the outside, so very broad as to allow horses and carriages to pass each other, and even to turn. This magnificent structure is so completely destroyed that its very site is doubtful, and was supposed to be discovered, in all cases exhibiting a heap of rubbish. So what do you think is going to happen to present Babylon? There's all kind of scriptures on that. All right, Genesis, Isaiah, Jeremiah, it's done. And these things will happen. This is prophecy. These are prophecies that have yet to be fulfilled, but we're in the beginning stages of that. It goes on to say there are significant limits on the public role of military personnel in partisan politics, as outlined in long-standing Defense Department policy and regulations. You have people within various departments of the government that are just waiting for the chance, for the opportunity, because they see what's going on. And you see how they spawned that January 6th incident that happened. But that's good for them. Trust me, I'm not it was funny to me. I was not in it, but I remember going to the store that day, and I'm like seeing all these people with red hats, like they were in like 2x2s, and I'm like, what the fuck? I had forgotten what was going on that day, because I didn't feel particularly good, so I didn't go out until later that evening, or the afternoon rather. And I'm like, okay. It just had strange expressions on their faces. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but yeah. So it says red flags. Let's see, red flags. Let's go back over here. Another one, expert warns U.S. descending into anarchy amid heightened distrust of the Department of Justice and law enforcement. Again, we have Anthony Fauci here. A legal expert has warned that the country risks descending into anarchy amid escalating criticisms of federal law enforcement bodies in the wake of the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago. This is just one thing in a among many, because wait till this executive order that Biden signed on March the 9th of this year. Wait till December, I think it's 11th, when that's supposed to go into effect. See what they did, they pulled another something akin to the Federal Reserve Act on the people, and you'd be surprised how many are not aware of it yet, even though it's been well, see, your local news is not going to cover this for the people that just expect people to, these wicked, evil pieces of shit to just tell you what they're going to do. So a lot of Jake's going to be caught by surprise. No wonder we've been talking about Jacob's trouble. Something else a lot of people amongst our people don't understand and don't want to believe. Jacob's trouble. Who are the poor? Who are the forgotten? All right, who does not have the means to support themselves, like our enemy, who has the money to stock up on, thing, or move away altogether. Our people don't. These cities are going to be madhouses. All right, madhouses. Continuing on, this is facing heated allegations of bias. The Department of Justice on August 30th banned political activity of all non-career political appointees at agency. We must do all we can to maintain public trust and ensure that politics, both in fact and appearance, does not compromise or affect the integrity of our work. Too late for that. The ban came as public distrust of federal law enforcement agencies have trended to low levels, with 53% of voters agreeing with the statement that the Federal Bureau of Investigation is Joe Biden's Gestapo. A survey of 1,000 U.S. likely voters also showed that 44% of those polled now view the FBI less favorably after the agency conducted a raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Well, I wonder if they would do... You know what? I don't even know why I wanted to ask that question. I was going to say, why don't they poll a lot of jakes about the FBI? But our people have been so twisted within the last 50 years or so. Who knows? A couple of generations removed. Just pretend you didn't hear that. Anyway, overall, only 36% of likely voters disagree with the description of the FBI as a Gestapo that benefits President Joe Biden. The DOJ ban also came a few days before Biden took to the TV airwaves with rhetoric attacking Trump-supporting Republicans. In a September 1st speech given in the shadow of Philadelphia's Liberty Hall, Biden warned against MAGA Republicans who live not in the light of truth but in the shadow of lies. For those of you that are familiar with what we do out here on the highways and byways, how many times can you count? We tell our people that neither one of these parties give a shit about us as a people. This, hey, it's prophecy though. Let's go to, gotta go to Revelation 13, straight to the point. Let's go with the heading here, the beast out of the sea. And the part I'm going to read, the beast out of the earth. This is verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. You have to understand, America is the revived Roman Empire. When it talks about having the power, well, let's read on. And he exercises all the power of the first beast, which will be ancient Rome, before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Look at your architecture here. All right, especially here in D.C. You can go into your state houses in any of the 50 states, with the exception of maybe Hawaii. All right, and you'll notice the same architecture, and it goes all the way back to this, because this is their origin. We're talking about Edom. This is about 4,000 years ago. Petra, originally known to its inhabitants as Rakhmu, is a historic and archaeological city in southern Jordan. All right. Look at this. Look at this. And look at these are the same people that would eventually take over what has become known as Greece, and their brethren, the Romans. And then for a period it was the Greco-Roman Empire before it transitioned fully into Roman. But look at the architecture, it's the same. And again, this was during the time of King David. So you're looking at what? Circa 1000 BC? 980, something like that? Something like that? Look at that. This is their origins, not Europe. This is them. They took this over from a Hamitic tribe called the Horites. All right. Mount Seir, all that. See, here it is. The Iron Age lasted between 1200 and 600 BC. In that time, the Petra area was occupied by the Edomites. This came when the Edomites rebelled after the death of King Solomon in 928. So yeah, I was close. I said 1000, but yeah. You got to understand, they ran the Horites out and they made that their own. When Israel split into two kingdoms, for Israel to be in the north and Judah in the south, the Edomites were known as descendants of Esau, and this was referenced in the Old Testament of the Bible. The configuration of mountains in Petra allowed for a reservoir of water for the Edomites. This made Petra a stopping ground for merchants, making it an outstanding area for trade. Things that were traded here included wines, olive oil, and wood. Initially, the Edomites were accompanied by nomads who eventually left, but the Edomites stayed and made their mark on Petra before the emergence of the Nabateans. They were then engaged in battle with King Amaziah. That is, which Chronicles is that? Is that 2nd Chronicles or 1st Chronicles? 25th chapter. Started about, because he just gathered like 10,000 of them at a time and just threw them over the cliffs. And he got off on seeing them break apart at the bottom of the cliff. They were then engaged in battle with King Amaziah of Judah and chased back into their own lands. It is said that 10,000 men were thrown off of the mountain el Bayara. This story has been debated by scholars that it is in so-called biblical times. Alright, so-called. They know it. In fact, let's check that out real quick, because I don't like saying anything without, what does it say? Trust and verify. What are we going to verify? Is that 1st Chronicles or 2nd Chronicles? Let's start 1st Chronicles. Around, let's see. Gotta be 2nd then. Alright. Amaziah, yeah, does right. Okay, he did. Here it is. And Amaziah, this is verse 11, strengthened himself and led forth his people and went to the valley of Salt and smote of the children of Seir, which are Edomites, so-called white people today, 10,000. And other 10,000 left, I hate so sensitive. And other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they all were broken in pieces. Most cruel. It says, and this is how you know we try to tell you who your true enemy is. All right, but our people don't want to listen. And other 10,000, all right, it says, no intimation is given on what account or on what provocation this most cruel conduct towards the prisoners of war was adopted. The enmity between Israel and Edom seems to have been reciprocal and deeply malignant. To this day, all right, to this day, because it's a spiritual. The victorious king and his army considered every individual Edom as a traitor and rebel, and so adjudged them to death and acted on this judgment. Oh man, yep. So we've verified that. So let's go back to here. Yeah, and for time's sake, I mean, let's see. No, what it is, see there, let me read this paragraph here, and it's that, let me see, go up here. It says, they don't think about the same things on the level that we would think of things, because they have been elevated into a state where they have lost the appreciation of impartiality, all right? And quite frankly, they just don't care. And it's that out-of-touch behavior by our political class that has caused a crisis that necessitated a DOJ ban, one former U.S. Special Agent told the Epoch Times. The issue is that a Biden appointee, the U.S. Attorney for the state of Massachusetts, showed up at a Joe Biden fundraising event where First Lady Jill Biden was appearing. Eric Caron, who previously worked as an agent for the U.S. Treasury and for the Department of Homeland Security, said about the impetus for the political ban by the Attorney General. She even used a government vehicle to get to the event. All right. The electioneering claim is under investigation by the U.S. Office of Special Counsel after the case was referred to the DOJ by Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas. Politicization claims. Others have wondered if the ban, as well as another DOJ memo issued on the same day, reiterating a policy restricting. They've gone and done some stupid crap on both sides, all right? But they play this game with the people's minds, all right? Weak minds that they are. And you think they actually, on both sides, give a fuck about you. No, what Biden was put in office to do is do exactly what's going on now. And that's to usher in, or help usher in, this motherfucking great reset, and thereby this new world order. All right, he's following his orders. Whether he can remember them from day to day or not, that's another question, but he's put there for a purpose, for a reason. All right. Ever since we told you that FBI whistleblowers have begun contacting members of Congress to report on political pressure from high-ranking FBI officials to falsely label some investigations and run interference on others to serve a political agenda, Attorney General Merrick Garland has been very busy trying to shut them down, and anyone else who might expose what's going on, noted the American Center for Law and Justice, run by former Trump attorney Jay Sekulow. But even after discounting the possible partisan motives behind the moves, the gesture will be inadequate in regaining the trust and confidence of the American people, says one skeptic. And one can only hope, but you're going to have your diehard idiots that still believe in this bullshit. All right, that's just, wow. And this is why you have this, what was that several years ago where they said they're going to determine where you have your red, your blue, your yellow, or something like that as a classification whether you get killed or sent to a re-education camp, some shit. It's been a while since I've heard it, we can all together just about forget about that. I mean, you gotta believe they got our files. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, it's just a lot of, you can read this to yourself. It's just a lot of, like I say, you're putting a Band-Aid on a shotgun wound. It's just, it's done, all right? You might as well not do anything. This place is falling apart, and it's a beautiful thing to see. This is a beautiful time to be alive, because this has been our slave pen. This is our hell as a people. It has been. It's been very bitter, as the name of America or America implies. All right. So why would anybody in his right mind, and that's the key there, in his right mind want to stay in this bitch? So here we go once more. I attempted to combine the two. Expert warns U.S. descending into anarchy. That's a good thing. And the other one I used, I'll put both of them in the description box. The link. You might get thrown by the pictures because it's got the same picture. Ex-military leaders want to politicize civil military environment. All right, that was after Joe Biden's speech. All right, so yeah, this is what we got to contend with for the short time, because I'm telling you, with the situation down there in Mississippi, which will probably be my next video, because that governor down there, and they're finding out that you send all this money overseas to the Ukraine and some other bullshit that has nothing. I mean, what about your own people? And with it being the majority in Jackson, Mississippi, I think it's like 80%. That's Jake. It sends a clear message, and the governor is letting it be so. They don't give a fuck. So hey, once again, I hope whoever views this is edified. That's what we try to do here at Great Millstone, filter everything through the scriptures, so you'll know what times you're in and how much time you have left. And we've been warning you for several years, and I know a lot of you say, well, yeah, you've been saying this and saying that, but again, you filter these things through the scriptures, and you'll know, aside from the fact that we're on a different timeline, because hey, our life span on this planet is, like mayflies. We're here and then we're gone, like a breath. All right. So again, we're on the Most High's time scale, but you can see these things if you're truly filtering them, and as the Spirit is working with you. This shit getting ready to blow. The bottom getting ready to fall out of this bitch. In any and every way you want to put it. Hey, so with that, shalom.